Hello everyone and welcome to Tuesday tutorial time, and we're looking forward to going to tier 3 after lockdown finishes for the foreseeable future, but hey, it is what it is, as they say. Right, this week's tutorial song is Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, written by Johnny Marks and a big hit for Brenda Lee in 1958. It's a very short song. There's only 8 lines of lyric, so we've devised a cunning plan.
Ooh.
We have, haven't we? Yeah. We've decided that you can either do it straight through twice in a choice of 2 keys, or much more fun is to go through it once in one key and then through it again in a different key. Clever, no? A plan so cunning you could pin a tail on it and call it a weasel, as Blackadder once said. Right. Okay, now the introduction is the 4 chords that you're very familiar with. It's just a variant on the ice cream changes, the doo-wop changes, the C, A minor, F, G7, because the D minor 7th shown in the introduction to the key of C, which is where we're starting, is only 1 note different from F, so it's basically C, A minor, F, G7 with just a slight tweak. So the 2 little dots either side, if you've got the tutorial sheet you'll know what I mean, and if you haven't it is available. The 2 little dots either side of the chords in the introduction are repeat marks, but just a bit of musical notation. So that means that you play C, A minor, D7, G7 twice and then get into the song. Right, now the Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, it is a rock, so that now you can do that one of 2 ways. We've already in our lessons on the ship we've talked about doing that rocking on and off the A note on the G string. Well, you can do that at the beginning of the verse of this song in C. You can play it so just rocking your finger on and off the 2nd fret of the G string, like that. I've got my low G tenor again, by the way. Pam's got her high G soprano, so again it just gives a different flavour to the way you want to play it. We can also do that rocking figure, like echoing the melody, the da 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 da. We can do that higher up, an octave above, by playing C as a C5, which is 0033, and C6 we just play as an A minor 7th, 0000. Like that, so it's a nice little rocking motion. And then we get to the G7 at the Christmas party hop. Now, you can pick up the melody again here, should you choose to do so, on your plain first position G7. So we get Christmas, which is a G9th, so that's 0320. So you're picking up the A note there, Christmas. You play a G7 and just lift your ring finger. Then we've got the F note already there, and we've got the D note already there. So if you can stretch your little finger over to the 3rd fret of the G string, then there's the B note. So we're getting the melody there for the 2nd half of the 1st line, at the Christmas party hop. And then the 2nd line, we've got a D minor 7th, which is what the accompaniment would be doing. Now, I've said this on several occasions, where a song sheet calls for a 7th or a minor 7th chord, you can always play the root chord and that will work. So here it's calling for a D minor 7th, but you can perfectly happily play a D minor and it will work just as well, because somebody's going to be doing the D minor 7th and putting that C note in. But if you want to pick up the melody, you play that D minor 7th as a D minor, because you've got that A note there. So we've got D minor to G7, gives you the melody, the A, and the B. Every time. Now at the end of that line, you're going from a G7 to a G, which is actually a chord change that not many people like, because it involves a complete change of position of your fingers, all three fingers. And that's one that may trip you up, so beware of it. A G7 to a G. You can just drop your little finger on the 3rd fret of the E string. So instead of doing that, you can play the G7 and then just double fret the E string. So that gets over that particular little pitfall. Second verse, same as the first, nothing different there, except when we get to the end of the second verse, we're transiting into the bridge, which goes to an F chord. So we know how to transit from a C to an F chord, don't we? We go via C7th. So every note some caroling. Now you can play that C7, the first position, 0, 0, 1, which is fine. I prefer to hide the 7th note, the B flat note, elsewhere in the chord. So I would almost certainly, especially with the low G, I would almost certainly play the C7th there as 3, 0, 0, 3, like so. So you're hiding that B flat underneath. So we get to some caroling. And then we get to an F chord, that's fine, you will get a sentimental. Now, again, the accompaniment properly should be an E minor 7th, but as I've just said in relation to the D minor 7th above, if you are called on to play an E minor 7th, you can always play an E minor chord, but not vice versa. So in this instance, you can play E minor 7th, which is 0202, or you can play a plain E minor chord, which is 0432. And it sounds better because you've got the melody there. Under your 3 fingers, you have the melody of feeling when you hear. There it is. B, G, E, G, B. The 3 notes in the E minor chord. And then the last line of the bridge is the really interesting bit about the song, because you've got a little rundown going from an A to an A flat to a G to an F sharp, and there are 2 ways of doing it. If you have a low G, you can put it down there on the G string, and so you're starting with a minor, but I suggest you keep the C note in, keep your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, again to pick up the melody. So you're playing an A minor with an added C, then you slide your index finger down onto the 1st fret of the G string to give you the augmented note, and then now the A minor 7th that's called for there, now it's time to let go the C. But not if you want to keep on with the melody. So can do that. And the A minor sixth, well, there are all kinds of ways of playing an A minor sixth. In the context of this song and in that little passage, that rundown, easiest way to do it is play it as an open D seventh. So 2-0, 2-0, because you want to get that F sharp note in. So we want to get, yeah, so. And then, if you want again to pick up the melody on that D chord on deck, you play it as 2-2-2-5. So you've got that deck, so we can put all that together. If we put that middle 8 together, we come up with something like this: 2, 3, 4. You will get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing. Let's be jolly, deck the halls with boughs of. Okay, now if you want to be if you've got your low G, but you want to point up that rundown, then you need to do it on the E and A strings. But you can do it. It's a little bit awkward. So you play the A minor plain, and then add your little finger to the 4th fret of the E string, but mute the A string with your little finger. Then slide your little finger down to the 3rd fret of the E string. So we get it up there. But because that A flat note, that G sharp or whatever it is, only half a tone different from the open A string, that's why you need to mute it. The other way is to play the A7th like the A minor like that with your little finger, your ring finger, and then leave your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. Either way, you can experiment with that and find out what works for you. Right, so that's the middle 8, and the 4th verse or 3rd verse just goes back to the verse format. Now, if you're going through it twice in the same key, when you get to the end of the last verse, you just plough on as you did at the end of the first verse. So we get to everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way, and then rocking around. So if you're going to play through it twice in C, then you just plough on. But if you do that, when you get to the end of it the second time in C, we need to play that ending in the new old-fashioned way. That phrase needs to go at half speed, and it's a slightly different melody because it's doing this in the new old-fashioned way. And to achieve that in chords, we play in the new on a G, and then we go to old. It's got that rogue sharpened D in it. So we do that by playing in the new, sharpened G, not sharpened E, come to that later, sharpened G. So in order to get that note in, we need to play a B diminished, and then the sharpened G is on the G string. So we get in the new old-fashioned D7, G7, C. So the second time round, that last line becomes 2, 3, 4. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. And like that.
And B diminished is?
B diminished is 1, 2, 1, 2. Scotland Yard. You're too young to remember. Whitehall 1212, but that was the old phone number for Scotland Yard Met. Right, now, everything that we've covered in doing it in C applies in G, but of course the chord shapes are slightly different. So if we whiz through it in G, most of the same things apply, but the introduction then becomes those ice cream changes in G rather than C. So G minor, A minor, E minor, sorry, A minor 7th, and then D 7th. Now the rocking that we did on the C chord in version in C, you can do quite simply on the G chord. Just lift your ring finger off to get the G 6th, which is another name for the E minor 7th chord. And you're also picking up the melody there. So, at the Christmas party hop, whichever D7 suits you at this point, either the Hawaiian Open D7 2020 or the closed D7 2223, whichever you prefer. Then we get to the second line. We're doing an A minor 7th to a D 7th, and if you want to pick up the melody, then you can play your A minor 7th quite happily like that. And the open D 7th works well there. If you prefer, and if you like the sound of this one and you'd like to practice it, now is a good opportunity to do so. An alternative to A minor 7th, rather than just that, which is, you know, a bit naff. Try 0 4 5 3. Now that's A minor 7th and a different inversion and a different position. You've got the 7th note there on the G. You've got the E note in the A chord. You've got the A note there on the C note. So we've got our A minor, which is A, G, A, E, C up there. And you've got the G note, the 7th, down there. So that's another voicing for A minor 7th, which I rather like. But it's up to you. What else? If you play the D 7th in the second position, 2 2 2 3, then to go from a D7 to a D is a lot easier. You just drop your little finger in on the 5th fret of the A string. If you're playing the open D 7th down there, then you can either convert it to a D by moving fingers over, or flatten middle finger across the C and G strings if your finger flattening works like that. Okay, that's the verse for doing it in the key of G. Second verse again is exactly the same as the first, but we get to the end and we're going, and we'll do some count. We're going from a G to a G 7th. Now, doing it in C, we did that the other way round, didn't we? We went from G7 to G. Well, here you're going from G to G7. So that's, again, that's the complete change of finger positions. There's not really a workaround for that, so you'll just have to work at it. Now we get to the bridge, and we get again to you will get a sentimental feeling. Now you can play a plain B minor 7th there, or if you prefer, the B minor works equally well, which is the B minor 7th is 2 2 2 2, but the B minor is 4 2 2 2. So either way, and then we come to that little run down, which is what we did in the key of C. Now, in the key of G, it starts on the E note. So, to achieve that, we start on an E minor. So we've got the E note on the C string. Then we move that to a G augmented, which is 0, 3, 3, 2. Then to a plain G, and then the E minor sixth. From G to E minor sixth, just slide your index finger down towards the nut, down to the first fret. So there we are, we've got that. And then it actually stays on there. So what we get there is, yeah. So put that together and it works like 2, 3, 4. The halls with boughs of holly. It's nice, it's a nice effect. A lot of club songbooks leave out that little run through the augmented note, and I think it's a shame to leave that out because it just adds a little bit of interest to your accompaniment. But it's up to you. And then we finish with the last verse, which is as good a place as any. And again, if you're playing this through twice in G, you just plough on through the ending. So we get everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. Back to the beginning, rocking around. Okay, but if you've reached the end and you want to do that half speed last phrase, then again you need a few sort of additional chords in there, and what we get is in the new, which is on a D chord, old. Now you need to get that sharpened D there, so we play that as a C diminished, and new, old, A7 fashioned way. So the last line, last time round, works out as 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. And I've just finished it on the the third position G, which is 7, 7, 7, 10. And that's it. I think I've covered everything there. Pam usually tells me if I've missed something.
I know,
out, so.
I try.
Yeah. So I think that's about it. And so we'll leave that in your capable hands. Anybody wants the song sheet, let us know and we'll forward it to you. Otherwise, we'll be putting up a play-along version of this later in the week. Don't forget our comic song on Friday. We're getting into Christmas mode, as it is now December.
Might even put the tree up.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, yeah. Put the
Not
tree.
yet.
Not yet.
Another couple of weeks.
Christmas Eve will be good. Our daughter-in-law has had the tree up for about 3 weeks now. Goodness sake. But enough of that. We're not getting into Christmas quite yet. But we'll have another tutorial next week, comic song on Friday, and in the run-up to Christmas we'll do some festive stuff. Right, that's it from us, isn't it? So we're going to go and leave you in peace, and so you know what to do. Stay safe, look after yourselves and be kind to each other. And that's all from us for today, isn't it? So goodbye from Pam, goodbye from me, and we hope to see you soon. Take care, bye.